Ko Josephine Haworth taku ingoa, no pipiriki, tūturu, toku koinga, ahau. My name is Josephine Haworth, and just sort of going back to the te reo piece that I just said, I'm a local from Pipiriki and on the river, and have lived here all my life with my husband and our family of 3 children, and also with my family from the river, which is my mum and dad and my grandparents and that. So basically, my husband Ken and I own Whanganui River Adventures. We have actually had Whanganui River Adventures operating for 20 years, and did own other businesses on the river before that. So my husband has been on the river operating commercially since 85. And then I basically, as a local, came into the business later on down the track. And pretty much we brought our family up in that business with his mum and dad. But my family have always been jet boating on the river for the entire time we have been, well, as a born and bred local here.
Here on this way, another 55 kilometres to the next next road, next bit of farmland, bush all the way, and 115 through to Taumata. New Zealand's longest navigable waterway, but 3rd longest, which is the longest one in New Zealand waterway.
With our business, it is a local Māori tourism business, and our tours are focused on our local history and stories of the river. A lot of it is personal because of our growing up on the river, so we want people to know a little bit of what we do on the river, being, I guess, a very big part of what we've actually grown up with, and the history side is just what we've learnt from our own family members, and because my parents still live on the river and in Pipiriki, it is a very big part of us, including Ken growing up with us as well.
This one here, that is that old bridge over there, the old swing bridge, built 1919, 1920. And that really took most of the traffic while the men were here. It was also big enough to take horses over, which are blindfold to start with until we got used to that motion.
We also have our family farm upriver, which used to be one of the biggest Māori villages, and that's 22 kilometres from here. And my family still live there today at our farm, which used to be the biggest Māori village in the Middle Reach. And so that is pretty much what we do as part of our tours as well. So showing people where we still live today, not just Pipiriki, and also bringing our children up with all of this. So they are also a part of our business, alongside with my brother who tour guides for us, my son, well, our son, who also part-time tour guides with us, and other family members as well who are our tour guides part-time. The river has always been a very big part of us, so it actually goes deeper than what it is now, and the meaning that it has for us. It is us. Body, soul, mind, whatever. It is everything of us, and basically we are everything of the river. You know, the river has always been a very big part of us. We don't know it any other way, even though it has a status. We've always belonged to it, and it's always belonged to us. Hence the saying, ko Aotearoa, te awa ko au. It has always been our playground. It is always like our food source, but it's also like our working grounds, I guess, with my family jet boating, my family fishing off it. My dad is still the traditional fisherman on the river as well. Hence, you would have seen some of the structures, and also some of our family members probably still working on it, cleaning it, getting it ready and prepped, because we are in the season of the traditional fishing at this moment. And because my family, my dad works around the Matariki and Puanga, that is part of us. So the river is I guess the only way I could say it is it has always been a very big part of us. It goes deeper than being a status for us. When we sort of went into the first lockdown, we didn't really know what we were going to do. So we got our staff together and sat down to talk with them and said, okay, this is pretty serious. And because 75% of our market was international. So we were never big on Kiwi market either. So just a very probably small percentage was Kiwis. So it was really hard because we didn't really know ourselves what we were going to do and where we were going to go from there. So we sort of sat down and we thought, let's just go with it when we do open up. So that's what we decided, was to just go with the pandemic, put in our safety measures in place for the business, for ourselves, for our visitors that came here as well. And that was kind of our first, I guess, reaction and what we decided we were going to do. And we just basically, through the whole pandemic, we stuck with everything we decided we'd put into place. And touch wood, we did very, very well in and out of the COVID. So we just basically stuck with everything. Our safety, when we had people coming in, the masking up, the hand sanitising, all, as you can see, all of that's still out now. Dealing with our Kiwi markets, I just find that they are so much easier and so much more appreciative of what we do. And you know, like a lot of them have said to us, if we didn't come here, we'd be overseas spending our money. So all our posts and that, you know, I always make sure that we thank them and keeping our doors open and keeping the staff that we did keep on in jobs. And you know, and that's our way of saying thank you to all our Kiwis out there that have come to do tours with us and helped us out. One thing we've found different is that a lot of our locals have actually come in as well, and you would probably not see that otherwise. You know, so like we've had a lot of our local schools come and book tours with us, and actually appreciate what they have in their own backyard. We've always gone with what we're good at instead of worrying about what everybody else does out there, and just sticking to us.
Coming into the main gorge area, so for the next 15 kilometres we're actually going to go through the biggest Opi gorge on the river itself. But from Pipariki North to the next road is a distance of about 87 kilometres. And
doing the best we can for our people that come here and do tours with us. Whether they're doing our tours, whether they are staying here with us in our campground or our cabins. Whatever they do, I think it's about us being true to us and delivering what we are good at. I think for us, it's been able to support our community, because from when I was growing up here, we had more families here, we had more children in the village, whereas now those numbers are very, very small, and our village is getting smaller and smaller with our, some of our families passing on. And I think it's about us being able to support our community, whatever it is that's happening here, and getting behind them, and them being our support. So giving back as well. And also we do exactly the same with our little villages on the river road and that. And they are our community and our river road families and villages are the key to our business. Because I find that if we don't support them in their businesses as well, then what are we doing? Like, we work with our accommodation providers down the river road. So basically what we can't take here, then we refer to them to our accommodation lot. We also have the Matahiwi Cafe, which is my grandfather's old school, and that is a cafe in Matahiwi. So that actually came from where my family are from, upriver, and it was transported down there, or floated by river with one of the river boats. And so that's the school my granddad went to. So we support them as well. So we have like packages and stuff that we have, like the Mountains to Sea cycle trail. We do the pickup from the landing. Basically, they will either come here to stay, and if we can't accommodate them here, whether it's camping, whether it's with our cabins, then basically we send them down that way, and they have the choices of different accommodations down the river road. So we have the old convent at Jerusalem, which is the old Catholic school. They do accommodation down there. So that's an option for a lot of our clients and our customers that come through this way. It doesn't matter if they're on the river with us doing tours or they're just driving through. And it's nice to be able to have to compliment them as well. And we kind of like to work with compliments so that, we know that we're all sort of doing the right thing by each one of us. And so basically we work with them right to the end of the river road with our accommodation. So those are our packages and that for a lot of our mountain bikers, our walkers. So we've got the Te Araroa walkers that come through here. We have the Tua Aotearoa mountain bike riders that come through here that follow the trails from Cape Reinga all the way through to Bluff. So it's good to be able to help all of our providers down the river road. So the one thing we do actually need here in Pipariki is another formal sort of accommodation. We do have a group which we've just, I guess in the last year we've sort of created. It is called Etu Pipariki. So it is made up of myself and some of our Land Incorporation board and our rangatahi here, because I always feel that to have a balance on anything to do with our community, we have to involve our younger generation with fresh minds and ideas and that. That is something I would like to see, and it would be nice to see this as a destination for people to come to. I think it's something that Tourism New Zealand probably should look at. Whether they do or not is another thing. They did used to come through earlier days when my in-laws were in business here, but for some reason they sort of disappeared, you know, and now that we've sort of come into business and we've got our name out there, they're slowly starting to come through, but we'd like to get them to promote this area a lot more as, I guess, one of the destinations off the beaten track sort of thing, because our roads are now all sealed through here, so there's no excuse on that part other than winter times when we have slips every now and again. But it's such a beautiful area.
That big clump of flax in the growth up there, that's where the river rose to. It was 15 metres in Pipariki.
And there's a lot more to it than just the beauty of it. I mean, the hospitality you get at our accommodation places, I guess including ourselves, it could be a destination for people to come here. We've tried many, many years to get that to happen and to put it out there to a lot of operators that we deal with in the tourism. So a lot of our clients, our groups, international groups that have come here, we've tried many, many times to promote this area, and a lot of them would love to come here to stay a lot longer. I guess if we had a lot more activities here to keep them as well, would be a bonus. Then you would probably see a lot more of them come here to stay. But we can't at the moment because of the land situation, so banks won't actually lend. Māori land it's good to have, but then it has its downfalls too when it comes to banks lending, because it's not secure enough.
Yeah, so these structures here, these are eel traps. The local Māori people here catch these lamprey eels in those. That's an eel about that long. And as they're swimming around those traps, they have holes in them that they set baskets behind. And the eels are actually swept back into the baskets by the current and the hill there.
Yes, because it wouldn't, I guess it's just the impacts that we see now on the river, like, you know, when there's canoeists coming down, it's the rubbish that we see floating on the river, that, you know, when they're canoeing, and you don't get all of them that do it, but you do get some of them. And, you know, if we're meant to be a clean, green country, like, that's not quite happening. So it would be good to see some of those operators that come down with their guided groups and that to sort of, you know, I don't know how you would do it though, as far as like making sure that, you know, they are bringing their rubbish out. Like, I mean, we do it on our tours, and, you know, it would be awesome to see a lot more of our operators actually do that with their people. You know, and say, well, you know, don't chuck your rubbish on the ground, you know, don't just leave it where you're sitting, you know, or where you're camping. Take it with you. We have our granddaughter here now. When she comes back from town and they bring her home even just for a couple of days or for a night, they have to take her to the river. That's the first kind of words, the park and the river, that she learned how to say. And you just say to her, do you want to go to the river? She's, yep. So, you know, that's a good instance of, like, I guess, it's sort of following through our blood, you know, our line as well, and our family, is that our children grew up on the river. So now it's kind of embedded with her.